Thanks so much for attending our news conference to talk about toy safety. I'm Teresa Murray, Consumer Watchdog at U.S. Public Interest Research Group. With us today, we have Alexander Honsark, Chair of the Consumer Product Safety Commission, Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, who is a member of the Senate Commerce Committee, which works on safety issues involving toys and other products, Dr. Jerry Rose, emergency medicine pediatrician, Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital in Cleveland, Joan Lawrence, Senior Vice President of Standards and Regulatory Affairs for the Toy Association in New York, Dave Gouda, Assistant Director, Kids in Danger, Chicago. So for our 37th annual Trouble in Toyland report, which is available at toysafetytips.org, we took a different approach this year. We set out to see how many toys we could buy that had been recalled. Even though it's illegal to sell any recalled product, we found it was easy to buy recalled toys. We started out by making a list of toys that had been recalled this year that we wanted to buy. And from October 7th through October 29th, we bought more than 30 recalled toys, some of them in multiples from 8 different merchants. Most of the toys were new in the box or new with tags. It's shocking that we were able to buy half of what we set out to buy, including this stuffed duck, which has toxics, by the way. And for anyone who wants to see whether a toy they have has been recalled, go to cpsc.gov/recalls. Our report also talks about the ongoing problem of counterfeit toys, which may not meet US safety standards for toys. We also talk about privacy issues with so many toys today having internet or Bluetooth capability. And the other thing we focus on in the report this year is the fact that 200,000 people every year have toy-related injuries that take them to the emergency room. About 79,000 of them are children 4 and under. That's just tragic. And by all indications, toys are safer than in years past, and recalls are down. So why are so many people getting hurt? From our research, it seems like a lot of it stems from families not adhering to warning labels, particularly when it comes to children under 3, or people playing with toys in a way that wasn't intended. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Again, thanks for joining us. And with that, I'll hand it over to Consumer Product Safety Commission Chair Alex Honsark. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Teresa. Thanks for the invitation to be here today. And thanks to PIRG for holding this event, for once again kicking off the holidays with a reminder to families to shop safely for toys and gifts. This year, the CPSC celebrated our 50th anniversary. 50 years ago, we were given the mission to protect consumers from hazardous products in the marketplace. This mission comes into focus for many Americans as the holiday shopping season begins and new toys and other products emerge on the scene. Over the past 50 years, CPSC has banned and recalled a wide range of unsafe toys, from lawn darts that were impaling children to aqua dots, which put a number of kids into comas. But with each decade, new hazards arise and new challenges are faced. And that is why I'm proud to be chair of the CPSC and to work with my fellow commissioners and CPSC expert staff to advance safety for all Americans. And just this year, CPSC has conducted more than 200 recalls, assessed more than $38 million in civil penalty fines on companies that failed to comply with our safety laws, removed more than 40,000 dangerous products from e-commerce sites, many of which were some of the recalled ones that Teresa was talking about. We screened in more than 60,000 potentially harmful products at our borders and finalized a series of mandatory safety rules addressing hazards, including crib mattresses that can suffocate babies, window covering cords that can strangle children, high-powered magnets children and teens can ingest, and clothing storage units that can tip over and crush children. Also focused on warning the public about unsafe products. When companies have been refusing to conduct a recall in a timely manner for a product that we believe to be hazardous, we are acting to let the public know of the danger. In the last year, we issued more unilateral warnings to consumers, 9 than we did in the past 4 years. And just yesterday, we issued a warning regarding a one-wheel self-balancing electronic skateboard that poses a risk of serious injury and death. At least 4 deaths, multiple injuries that occurred after the product failed to balance the rider and stopped while in motion. We've also warned the public about a bounce house yesterday with a dangerous hoop that resulted in the death of a child. Because parents and caregivers need to know about these and other risks so they can make informed decisions when they're buying toys for children. And that's why I really appreciate the work PIRG does every year to raise awareness of potentially dangerous toys and to warn everyone buying products for kids they need to be careful. So if you're buying toys for kids in your life, remember, always pay attention to age labeling and safety warnings on toys to make sure they're appropriate and safe for that child. Small toys, small balls and balloons can be choking hazards. So think about everyone in the house in case the kid you're buying the present for has a younger brother or sister. When you're buying a scooter, skateboard, hoverboard, or bike, don't forget to purchase a helmet or any other necessary safety gear. If you're buying used toys or products, as Teresa mentioned, make sure they haven't been recalled. They shouldn't be being sold, but make doubly sure by checking on CPSC's website. Also, be careful with button cell batteries to make sure they're not accessible or left lying around, because it only takes a second for a child to swallow one, and that can cause grievous injuries and even death. And properly dispose of any thin plastic bags and packaging, as children can suffocate. And finally, remember safe sleep practices. Padded crib bumpers and inclined sleepers can no longer be sold legally, which is thanks to Senator Blumenthal, a law passed this year. Also remember that bears best. Use only a fitted sheet in a crib. Don't buy pillows or blankets or other extraneous items as gifts because they shouldn't go into infant sleep areas. And infants should only sleep in products designed for sleep, such as cribs, bassinets, and play yards. If a child falls asleep anywhere else, including a bouncer, a rocker, a car seat, or bed or sofa, move them to a safe sleep environment and put them on their backs. I want everybody to have a happy holiday season, so please follow this simple safety advice to avoid potential tragedies. And also, we're always on the lookout for products that are putting consumers at risk, but we can't do it alone, and I'm asking for your help. If you are experiencing a safety problem with a product, don't just leave a bad review online. Let us know by going to saferproducts.gov and report the issue so we can investigate. You could be saving a child's life. But thank you again to PIRG for all your safety efforts. I look forward to other speakers. Turn it back to you, Teresa.
Thanks so much, Mr. Chairman. We appreciate your comments. And I'm going to turn it over now to Senator Richard Blumenthal. Senator?
Thank you very, very much, Teresa. And congratulations and thank you on the great work that you've done on, again, trouble in Toyland, another in a series of really profoundly significant reports based on real research that PIRG has done. And I want to thank you personally and all of your team. You know, the temptation always is to try to cover everything and do a list of all the potentially dangerous toys. I want to focus on just a couple of aspects. First, foremost, most importantly, I am just astonished and appalled at the numbers of recalled products freely available on Facebook Marketplace and eBay. I am just flabbergasted at the absence of any real responsibility on the part of these platforms for what they are selling. Literally, they are a source of trouble in Toyland, potentially dangerous and even deadly toys freely available without any warning to parents and caregivers. Now, I understand that the buyers have a responsibility, but buyer beware is not enough. These platforms have a moral and a legal responsibility, in my view, to do better. So the numbers of toys available, the kinds of potential dangers, I think merit more serious attention from consumers, from the CSPC, from the Consumer Product Safety Commission, from all of the potential oversight officials, including the United States Congress. And as the chair of the Subcommittee on Consumer Protection of the Senate Commerce Committee, I certainly intend to follow up on this issue. You know, I think that there still are dangers in the button batteries. Reese's Law shows we can pass measures that will improve safety. For example, these batteries commonly found in all kinds of different devices, still a source of potential danger. And manufacturers, in fact, are adopting new means of protecting kids, the bitter batteries that Duracell is developing, the different kinds of batteries that may be less dangerous because of their chemical components, I think offer some promise. But we need to move forward with the Sunshine and Product Safety Act. It's in the Commerce Committee now. I'm proud to have introduced it bicameral. And we need more Republican support for it. As you know, the Sunshine and Product Safety Act would repeal Section 6B, which right now is a very significant constraint on the ability of the CPSC to warn consumers about the potential dangers of toys that should be recalled, and the need to negotiate, which gives toy manufacturers, in effect, a veto power over warnings, I think has to be repealed and free the government agency that's supposed to protect kids and consumers to do its job in this area. Finally, let me say that for this agency to do better, we need to give it the money that it needs, the resources that are necessary. And that will be a continuing struggle and a continuing goal of mine. But parents should be on the lookout for not only recalled toys, but also small parts in toys that could pose dangers. And of course, as always, balloons, which when deflated or burst, can be ingested by kids. 3 deaths over this past year alone. They're kind of my bête noire, and they are unfortunately a continuing source of tragedy. Balloons are great, they're fun, but when they're burst, when the deflated parts of the balloon are available for kids crawling on the floor to ingest, they can result in trips to the emergency room or worse. So thank you again to PIRG for this excellent report. I look forward to the question.
Thank you, Senator. And Senator Blumenthal is going to be remaining on for questions at the end as well. Next, I'd like to go to Dr. Jerry Rose of University Hospitals. Dr. Rose?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Teresa. Thank you for including me in this important conversation. My name is Jerry Rose. For the past almost 2 decades now, I've practiced as a pediatric emergency physician at Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital in Cleveland. I am here really to share my perspective because my work really focuses on treating thousands of children over the years with injuries, some of which have been related to toys. I also feel incredibly passionate about sharing information and being part of advocacy to help prevent those injuries from occurring. I couldn't agree more with the safety messages that have already been shared and the recommendations that have been shared previously in the introductions this morning. And so I'm really here and happy to answer questions and kind of just share general safety tips. This slide that Teresa is kindly showing provides just some high-level safety tips from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Obviously, there's been very active over the years in helping to reduce the risk of all types of injuries in children. So again, a lot of these points have already been mentioned, but we just want to make sure that parents are always aware of the importance of reading labels on any products purchased for their children. Again, we've already discussed, or it's been discussed, the choking hazards that can be posed, especially toys with small parts that can come off, or pieces that could be really unsafe for especially younger children. Stuffed toys, again, especially for our babies and small children, they can be lethal if in a sleep environment that could lead to a risk of suffocation. We certainly just want parents to be aware of these things, because I personally know how devastating it is when these injuries do occur. So again, just thankful to be part of this conversation. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm going to follow up with a question here, Dr. Rose. We've talked before about how some of the injuries have remained the same over the years. Can you touch on just the 3, 4, 5 injuries that you see the most frequently over the years?
Sure. I think, it's already been mentioned that choking, so toys with small parts as well as balloons, which the senator mentioned. Certainly, we still see children who choke on small parts or might aspirate small parts of a toy into the lung, which certainly is opens up opportunity that they're going to need a medical procedure to get those out and to treat them. Button batteries. I'm so excited about the legislation to help reduce the risk of exposure of small children to button batteries, but still, we certainly see children who come in after ingesting button batteries. This can be very life-threatening, and it's something that needs to be treated emergently. Not only swallowing them, I have personally removed button batteries from tiny noses and ears where children like to put things. So that's certainly something that we see. In our older patient population, the rising popularity of hoverboards and e-scooters and e-bikes. Certainly we know that children, those are really fun, but children can certainly have very serious injuries, including head injuries, broken arms, broken legs. And so we just want to always make sure that parents are aware of the risks, that children are using appropriate safety equipment, helmets, and that parents are making sure that these are being used by children at the appropriate ages. And then the suffocation risk. It is so devastating. Every year we see deaths that unfortunately could be preventable from babies and small children who are injured as a result of unsafe sleep environments, plush pillows, stuffed animals, crib bumpers, anything that a child could get entrapped in and unfortunately suffocate. I hope that if we can at least prevent any of that from happening, we want to save a family from that terrible devastation.
Okay. Well, I'd like to go ahead and move on to Joan Lawrence, and I know you have a toy to demonstrate later, Dr. Rose, so we'll come back to that after we finish up with our last 2 panelists. If you have that and you want to get it ready, then we'll do that at the end. And now I'd like to turn it over to Joan Lawrence from the Toy Association.
Thank you, Teresa. Toy safety is the #1 priority for the toy industry, and bringing safe and fun toys to children and families is what we work on year-round. In the US, we have mandatory toy safety standards for all toys sold here, and all toys sold in the US have to comply with over 100 different safety standards and tests, and have to be tested and certified as compliant before they're sold. As a result, toys sold in this country are actually among the safest consumer products in our homes. I'm often referred to as the toy safety mom, and in that role, I'm sometimes asked what toy safety issues are most important for families to know. We have strong standards, but what should families know about toy safety? And I would summarize those as follows: the importance of choosing the right toys for your children and family, and the importance of supervising play. And choosing the right toys, that means making selections for your family, the importance of following age labeling, And with the increase in online shopping now, avoiding counterfeit and knockoff toys. Why does that matter? We're seeing an increase in knockoff toys being sold that may not comply with our tough US safety standards, especially in the vast online marketplaces. So it means shoppers need to take steps to make sure they're selecting genuine product.
Well, on that then, what would you recommend that needs to be done to counteract counterfeit toys? You can go to the next slide, please.
Well, toy brands ensure that they're making and selling toys that are both fun and safe. And in the process, they invest significant resources to create innovative product, to test and certify those products and make sure they comply with the standards. But counterfeit and knockoff products, in an effort to make a fast buck, are not only stealing the innovation of other companies, they're most likely skipping the all-important step of complying with safety standards. So these imitation products have the potential to pose real danger to kids. And especially in large marketplace sites online, this can be an issue, but any business selling toys in the US must be held to the same standards. Given the situation, we support congressional action, better oversight to protect consumers from dangerous counterfeit products.
Okay. Now, one of the other things that you and I talked about, and you can go to the next slide, please, is the fact that so many parents seem to be willing to buy a counterfeit. And I mean, this blows my mind. I mean, how can we change this?
We always say that if a deal on a hot toy looks too good to be true, it probably is. It's probably better to buy the real thing or wait for a trusted retailer to restock the product than to buy a fake or a cheaper alternative that has the potential to be unsafe. And parents and gift givers feel a lot of pressure at this time of year and may unknowingly purchase a counterfeit in the process. But to spot the differences between a legit toy that's safe, dangerous knockoff, it's helpful to remember the 3 R's. First off, reputation. Is it a well-known seller or brand that you're familiar with? If so, you can feel confident about making that purchase. Research. You may need to do a little bit of research if you're not familiar with the seller or the brand. Check if they have their own website. In this day and age, a responsible company will. They'll also likely be able to either sell their product directly on that site or have a list of official retailers with links to purchase. And then thirdly, reviews. If a product has negative reviews or doesn't have very many reviews, it could be a clue that it's fake. Typos and spelling mistakes and poorly photoshopped images are all potential red flags as well. Those are the products you would want to avoid.
Okay. Because of time, we're going to go ahead and move on to Dave. And I understand that that the chairman, Honsarek, has remained on, so he'll be available for questions at the end as well. If people do have questions, they can start dropping them in the chat and we'll get to those in a couple of minutes. And I'll go ahead now and introduce Dave Gowda.
Thanks, Teresa. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dave Gowda. I'm the Assistant Director of Kids in Danger, or KID. KID is a nonprofit dedicated to protecting children by fighting for product safety. Thank you to PIRG for having us today and for continuing to educate parents and consumers about unsafe toys. KID's mission is to save lives by enhancing transparency and accountability through safer product development, better education, and stronger advocacy for children. You can learn more about us and sign up for our monthly children's product safety newsletter at kidsindanger.org to get our recall digest of all the products that have been recalled that month, and follow us on social media for up-to-date safety information, including recalled products and child safety news at Kids in Danger. I look forward to taking any questions that you have, Teresa.
Well, one of the things that keeps on coming up is about small parts and choking hazards. And can you give us some information to help parents figure out what represents a small part that their child, especially one under 3, shouldn't play with?
Sure. So first, look for the small parts warning on packaging of toys. If the toy is safe for children under 3, it'll have an age grade that includes those ages. If it's for children aged 3 to 6 and it has small parts, it'll have a warning. So in buying, you can look for those warnings and age guidelines. To prevent children from choking on small parts of toys that you might not still have the packaging for, you can do the toilet paper tube test right at home. So if a toy or a part of a toy fits through this toilet paper tube, then the toy is not suitable for children under 3. So that's a quick test that you can do at your home.
Okay. And we've talked also a lot about recalled toys and how there's for sale so easily. Is the system, the recall system, is it good enough? What more can be done to help families find out whether toys have been recalled?
Yeah, so only a small percentage of recalled children's products are removed from use from homes. And parents may not hear about a recall or can't get through on the phone when they call, and they don't get back to it. And just as product marketers know that consumers need more than one contact about a new product, consumers also need information about recalls from a variety of platforms to be fully aware of the dangers and steps that need to be taken. So that's why we're calling on recalling companies and the CPSC to do everything in their power to improve recall effectiveness. Recalling companies should contact customers directly if they have their contact information. This is easy and should be required for connected products where you need to use an app on your phone, for products that require a subscription service or products purchased online by the manufacturer. The KID writes an annual report analyzing children's product recalls, and we found that the CPSC and recalling companies aren't always posting about recalled products on social media. So they should post about all recalls on all other social media platforms, and preferably more than one, because many parents of young children use social media to find out about children's products.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Dave. I'd like to start directing a couple of questions real quick, since the chairman has remained on. A question is that everybody's been talking about recalls, and we know that some of these recalled toys are available on various platforms. And what more can the Consumer Product Safety Commission do to get these companies to take these toys down? I mean, they have sophisticated software. You know, I got 3 emails from eBay after I bought a toy that, oh, by the way, that thing you bought has been recalled. So they have the systems in their, you know, on their end, but what more can the CPSC do?
So we have been focused on this. We have an e-commerce team that goes and monitors these sites. And as I mentioned, we pulled down about 60,000 products over the last year by doing affirmative outreach to these platforms. But you're right, that's not enough. These platforms should be responsible, and they should be looking to pull down these recall products before they even go up. So I wrote to Meta the other month, highlighting the problems that we've been seeing. Honestly, that we're seeing higher numbers with Meta and Facebook Marketplace than some of the other ones out there. Craigslist is also a bad platform for these, but as you said, these are large companies, especially the Facebook Marketplace and others that have the resources, they have technology, they have the algorithms that they are using for other purposes. And I would urge them, and I have urged them, to redirect those resources towards product safety. If you're looking for, you know, we see this not only with recall products, but products that we're warning about. We just warned about a bounce house that had a hoop in it that strangled a child. What we're seeing is that was made by a manufacturer overseas that we can't even find. We put the warning out to parents, but oftentimes when we spot that product, we will let the platform know. It'll come down and then reappear the next day, same pictures, same description, and then we're going to have to go back to the platform again to ask them to pull it down. That is work that the platform should be doing. They have the people, far more people, as Senator Blumenthal pointed out, than we do, to be able to monitor this and the technologies. So we will continue to press the platforms to be responsible operators in the marketplace to try and get these things pulled down before they get to consumers.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to slip one question in here for the senator, if you can stay on to answer this. You mentioned about the Sunshine and Product Safety and the Inform Act. Could you say in like 30 seconds what these pieces of legislation would do to protect consumers?
The Sunshine and Product Safety Act essentially would remove the restrictions that now straitjacket the agency in providing warnings and notices of recall. Those restrictions are in effect that the Consumer Product Safety Commission negotiate with the manufacturer before it issues those warnings and tailor the public notice to what is acceptable to the manufacturer. It puts the wolf in charge of the hen house. It means that the commission is in effect handcuffed in the kinds of warnings it can provide. So eliminating or repealing Section 6B would liberate the commission. Likewise, the Inform Act would provide for greater disclosure and transparency. But let's come back to the issue that you just raised with the chairman. We wrote to Facebook Meta Marketplace, and the response that we got back was completely and inexcusably inadequate. In fact, the platform said to us, not our problem. It's the consumer problem. It's the CPSC problem. It's not our problem. But they have the tools, as you just pointed out. There's no mystery here. There's no great scientific advance that has to be accomplished. The safety of kids is at stake. And they're saying, in effect, we see no evil, we hear no evil, not our problem. But in fact, it should be made their problem. And that's why I think more and more legislation should be necessary to impose on them liability and legal responsibility if they fail to provide sufficient notice of a recalled product.
Well, thank you, Senator. Certainly, there's a lot to be done by Congress, by the CPSC, by toy manufacturers, by retailers, and, frankly, us as consumer advocates, and as we've talked about today, families certainly play a role in this. I'll go ahead and we're a little over time. If you can go to the last slide, Rachel, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. I just want to thank everybody for attending today, for all the panelists. This has been really, really helpful. And we are going to have a recording of this that we'll make available for folks who were not able to join. Again, it's important for people to be able to look up recalled toys by going to cpsc.gov/recalls. And that applies to toys that they're getting ready to buy and toys that may already be in their homes. It's important to do that. To view our report, it's at toysafetytips.org. And if anyone has any questions that they didn't get to ask today, or if you have any questions about the report or anything that you'd like me to direct to any of the panelists, then you can email me at tmurray@pirg.org. And thank you so much for attending today. Have a good rest of your day.